Hello. I'm back again. What did I decide I was gonna call this? I don't know, I kind of like the Kebo couch actually, but this isn't a couch, this is a chair. But the Kebo chair sounds like a punishment. I don't know, it's giving electrocution chair. On today's installment of the Kebo couch, which this may be the second one, I think, I'm gonna be rating every job I've ever had, which is a surprising amount considering I'm only 24 and I've worked at most of my jobs for like years. It doesn't really make sense, but there's a lot of overlap. Okay. I just wanted to pop in quick. I'm editing right now, but I wanted to say that I'm sorry for all the breathing noises. I changed my mic settings after I recorded this. The next episode will sound better. Sorry, I tried. First of all, not crimped. I used a waver on my hair for the first time in like years, and it kind of slays. You know, it's kind of giving, but... And I'm in my grandma's sweater, which is literally my grandma's sweater. It's not like, I'm not just calling it a grandma's sweater because that's the vibe. It literally was my grandma's sweater. And I stole it from her because it's cute. I'll get to the point. I hope that the background noise isn't bad. I have my window open because it's pretty nice out and I want a breeze in here. So I guess I'll learn my lesson, and hopefully if the audio is bad, I'll fix it in editing. Hi, Emil. My cat jumped up on the chair. I was hoping he would lay on me, but doesn't seem to be what he wants to do. I'll fix the audio in editing if it's terrible, I hope. Or maybe this won't go anywhere and I'll have to refilm it. Manifesting, that's not what happens. But maybe it's just like good background ambiance, bird chirping noise, but there's occasional cars that drive by and you can hear them, but it's fine. Moving on to actually what I wanted to talk about today. So let's just start at the beginning, okay? So I'm not going to count the babysitting I did when I was like 14, 15, whatever. I'm just not going to count that because I got paid to do it, but I wasn't like clocking in, clocking out. It wasn't a job. It's fine. We'll start at my first hosting job that I got when I was 16. It was kind of like a Nepo position because my sister was a manager there and I needed a job. And it did in fact pay like max $8 an hour, I think. But to be fair, I wasn't doing much. It was one of those places where I was kind of a useless host. Like, I bussed tables sometimes when we were busy, but usually I just sat people and we weren't like that crazy busy. So I just like spent a lot of time standing. And I used to have crippling social anxiety, okay? I don't know why I thought hosting would be a good first job for me. It's like very social and you have to be kind of like good at initiating conversation, but especially because where I worked, they didn't have a host every day of the week. They had a host on, I think, just the weekends or if there was like a big event, because it was a sports bar technically, I think, but also a restaurant. And so people were used to just walking in and sitting down, and I had to be like, hey, actually there's a host today. Can I please seat you? Which was really hard to do at first, I'll be honest. But the thing I took away from that job the most was how creepy middle-aged men are towards teenage women. Okay, because I got like, not necessarily hit on, but I got weird comments and weird looks the most at that job out of everyone that I've had. And I worked there from 16 to like right before I turned 17 for a whole year. It was gross. It was really gross. And also, mind you, I'm like a younger looking person. I think I look like I'm in my 20s now, but I'm also only 5 feet tall. So like when I was 16, people genuinely thought that I was like 13 years old. Like I had someone at that job ask me if I was breaking labor laws by being there. No, but also if I was, would I tell you that? No. Crazy thing to ask somebody. Anyways, so the fact that I was getting questions like that all the time, like when people like were guessing how old I was or assuming how old I was, they always thought that I was like 2 years younger than I actually was until I turned like 22, to be honest. So the fact that I had creepy old men hitting on me at 16 when I apparently looked 14 is nutsos. The job was good for getting me out of my shell socially, and honestly it was kind of like exposure therapy for the social anxiety that I had, because I didn't have a choice. They were like, get it together, girl, talk to people, or this is like, you can't do your job. And I do like being good at my job. Okay, I'm a perfectionist in the workplace, so I had to lock in. So I did. I locked in. And then the restaurant closed down, so I had to find a new job. But lucky for me, I already had another job because I started working at an American Eagle at an outlet mall like the summer after I turned 16, because I was only working like 12 hours a week at this hosting job, and I was like, I need more money. because I was also only getting paid $8 an hour. So I got a job at American Eagle, also only paid like $8 an hour, but I could at least get more hours a week. That job as a sales associate was fine. It taught me that I never want to work anywhere that has a credit card again. That's for sure. I just can't do the predatory credit card thing. It really drives me mad. Luckily, my manager that I had there was really cool, because she didn't like super push credit cards. Like, I know there are some places where management, like an Old Navy, where management is like, you have to have 3 no's before you accept no for an answer for the credit card. And it's like, that's nuts. That's crazy. Or they're like, or if someone gives you a valid reason, I don't need to know why they're telling me no. They just don't want a credit card. Like, you act like it doesn't negatively impact your credit score to open a new line of credit. They're like, oh, just open it for this day, use it once, never use it again. That's gonna negatively impact your credit. It's a big deal. What? Wild. So luckily, yeah, like I said, luckily that wasn't pushed super hard, but obviously talking to people was. I say obviously, but when I go into stores now, no one's like, most of the time I don't get greeted at the door when I walk in or anything like that, which is fine. I actually prefer that. Leave me alone, let me shop in peace. But they were big on like, greet every single person that walks in the door and check on them. And it's like, people don't want that. And it was obvious that people didn't want that. However, I had to do it anyways. And so I stayed there for about 2 years. And during this time, after the job that I hosted at the sports bar shut down, I got a job at the local casino and a restaurant there, which I think I was 17 at this point. I only ended up working there for like 6 months or something like that, less than a year, because it sucked. Let me tell you, it was nice because I got paid $13 an hour, which was the most I'd ever got paid before in an hour, and they were giving me hella hours, and I got tips on top of it. Not much because I was a host or a like grab and go attendant where I made like coffee, sold pizza by the slice, sold ice cream, milkshakes, stuff like that. Like, kind of did like a little bit of everything. That's what I did most of the time. I like started as a host and then essentially switched to that because they were 8-hour shifts and the tips were better, even though I was in high school. So I was working from like 3 p.m. to midnight because it was supposed to be an 8-hour shift, and then the person that was my relief was always late, so it never was an 8-hour shift, and I lived an hour away from that job, so yikes. But aside from the fact that they were kind of taking advantage of me, like on Saturdays, I would work the 2:45 to, 10:45 shift. And then on Sundays, I would work the shift that started at, let me do the math in my head, 6:45 6:45 to 2:45. So I would get off work at usually 11 at the earliest, because the girl that worked the overnight was always late, and then drive an hour home, get home at midnight. Honestly, usually like not even eat dinner or shower or anything. I'd just go to sleep because I was so tired. I'd change out of my clothes, like brush my hair, brush my teeth, do the bare minimum, go to sleep. Wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I get like maybe maximum 5 hours of sleep, but like realistically 4 hours of sleep. Get up, try to shower as fast as possible, go to work with just my hair wet because I don't have time to blow dry it. I'm not waking up 30 more minutes early to blow dry my hair. And then show up to work at 6 o'clock in the morning. That was not fun. But honestly, the worst part of that job wasn't the hours. It was the terrible old people. Okay, because it was at a casino and we were the cheapest place to get food at the casino, that's important. People thought that like they didn't need a tip, and this is not for me. Okay, the tipping thing is not about me, because as a grab and go person or as a host, because for hosting we would get tips on to-goes because we did to-goes also, but for the grab and go stuff, really don't expect tips. Don't care. I'm getting paid $13 an hour or $11 an hour. No, it was $11 an hour. I don't know what I said earlier, but it was $11 an hour. We'll get to the 13. Okay, we'll get to the 13. This was more about the servers that worked at the restaurant that was like connected to the grab and go area, which is why I kind of went from host to grab and go, because it was all just like one area. So all of us that worked at the restaurant could, well, not me because I wasn't 18 yet, but if you could host, you could do grab and go or serve or like bartend, whatever. It was all in the same area. And so I had to watch the servers deal with, for one, really, really rude people. People, you know, like if they're losing that day, they're in a bad mood and they are going to take it out on you. Okay, they are. Trust me, they are. And then they're not going to tip you. Oh, but then if they are having a good day, they're going to let you know that they're having a good day and that they won a lot of money. Oh, but they're still not going to tip you because that's their money that they worked hard for. Okay? They worked a lot of hard, long hours on that casino floor getting that money. They're not going to give it to you. It was crazy. Like, people literally be like doing a money spread on the table and then tip $1 on a $70 tab. And it's like, what do you mean? Wild. Absolutely insane. But really, it was like crazy because I would see a lot of the same people, a lot, you know, of course, the gambling addicts. And it was really funny when they would try to like give me life advice. You know, there's some people I'd like chat with because I saw them all the time because I was working like 30 hours a week. And it's just crazy that like a literal gambling addict whose life is probably falling apart because they probably spent all their money tries to give 17-year-old me life advice. And I'm like, listen, I am not trying to be you. Honestly, maybe yes. Maybe do tell me how you got here so then I don't take the same path. Don't take the same path. I think I meant, I don't know what I was trying to say. But basically, it was just wild to have people try to give me life advice when they're in such a terrible place. Like, what? But like, it wasn't in a way of like, don't be me. It was like, here's how you become me. And it's like, sir, I don't want to be you. No offense. And at 24, I still have yet to ever gamble. Don't plan on ever doing it in my life unless I become like mega rich and have money to spend. Which I won't, because I'd rather, you know, donate money than gamble it away. Also, that job sucked because it was definitely run by old white men in the way that all the rules were super strict. You couldn't have an unnatural hair color. You couldn't have more than one piercing in each ear. No face piercings, no visible tattoos, no jewelry. Like, I couldn't wear like a necklace or a bracelet or rings or anything like that unless it was like a wedding ring. And like, men couldn't have hair that was like, that like went below their neck. Like, they had to have like basically very short hair, which was like really weird. That was kind of the craziest part to me, is I was like, how can you control that? What if a man wants to have long hair? He can just put it up. Like, what? So I left that job quickly. I was not there for long. I got my money and I got out. And after that, because American Eagle was only paying me $8 an hour, when I left the casino, I was like, maybe I'll try to find a better retail job where I can make better money. And so I actually got a job at a Banana Republic in the same mall as the American Eagle. And they were going to pay me $11 an hour also. And I was like, okay, slay. Maybe I'll just like leave American Eagle and go to Banana Republic and make more money. No, I did not want to do that. I think I finished all my training days, which was like 4 days or something like that. And I was killing it. Okay, I was slaying it. I was talking to people. I was getting all the credit cards, whatever. But they like really push credit cards. And also it's a very fancy, like rich people store. And I just did not feel like I fit in there at all whatsoever. So I was just kind of like uncomfy and I don't know. I wasn't happy there. The people that I worked with were like, I don't know, they were okay, but I didn't love the environment. The environment of American Eagle was much more welcoming and like my type of vibe, much more casual, relaxed. I didn't have to like wear as fancy of clothes every day because I didn't have fancy clothes to wear there all the time. So I went to American Eagle and I was like, hey, manager, I really like working here, but I cannot make $8 an hour anymore. And she was like, okay, we'll match you at 11. We're good. We'll do that. Like, because I had been there for a year and a half probably and hadn't gotten a raise at all. And so they brought me up to 11, which was sick. So I stayed there and worked there for another like half a year. Then I graduated high school and they were like, hey, want to be a manager? And I was like, sure, if it means more pay. Barely. Okay. You know how much I got paid to be a manager there? $13 an hour. I got paid $13 an hour technically I was a sales lead, but I would be an MOD. I could open and close. I had to be on manager meetings. Like, I was a manager. Just, I didn't get paid like it, but I was in charge like it, had the responsibilities of it. And this was also, mind you, in 2020. Okay. And I'm in middle of nowhere, Iowa. Lots of conservative people, lots of people that just don't believe in COVID or face masks or whatever. And American Eagle, company-wide policy, they required people to wear face masks in the store, which was great. I mean, we only shut down for literally like 3 weeks in the height of COVID, only shut down for that long. And we reopened, and then we required masks for quite a while. I think honestly, like almost as long as I worked there. Like, it was quite a few months, as the rest of the world did. However, In rural Iowa, this was less common. Bigger companies in more liberal areas, masks were much more normal, and them being required was normal. People did not like that in the middle of nowhere, Iowa, okay? They weren't a fan. So I basically got paid $13 an hour to argue with middle-aged white women. Honestly, I was gonna say just like people, but it was really the middle-aged white women that like were really giving it a hard time, because most of the time if it was like a middle-aged man, he would kind of give in and not argue with me as much, because like that's a really bad look for a man, like a grown adult man, to be arguing with a teenage girl, I should say, teenage girl. But the middle-aged women, they don't give a fuck. Okay, they're gonna argue. They're gonna yell. Like, I had someone tell me that I wasn't gonna go anywhere in my life because I asked her to put a mask on. And she was like, what if I came in and told you you couldn't wear a mask? Like, you had to take your mask off. And I was like, well, that wouldn't really make sense. But I literally told her, I said, once you become the CEO of American Eagle, you can go ahead and do that. But for now, you need to get out of my store. Goodbye. And she did. She left. She did not put a mask on. Eventually people caught on to the, oh, I am medically exempt, whatever. And I was like, okay, you do you. Just like, as long as you're not fucking sick, I guess whatever. You know, I can't do anything about that. I know you're lying to me. Okay? I know you're lying to me. Because it became a really common thing out of nowhere. You know, everyone caught on, and then suddenly everyone was medically exempt, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Then I moved away to college, and because I went to college right after high school, but I moved away to my college town, which was a ways away, that August after I graduated high school. And so I stayed at American Eagle for a while because I don't like change. And also it was the height of COVID. So there wasn't really such thing as finding a new job, especially an in-person job like that. Like, things just were not back to normal yet. So I stayed there for my whole freshman year of college. And then I was like, okay, $13 an hour, driving this far every day. Can't do it. I was working full time because all my classes were online, so I was able to do that. But it was also exhausting to work that much and drive that much and be in college full time. And then also I knew that the next semester, at the beginning of my sophomore year, I probably was going to have in-person classes, and I was going to make scheduling really hard because I was basically working a regular 9 to 5 most days, and you can't do that with classes. So I decided I would get a job closer, and I was like, okay, I don't want to go back to hosting because I did enough hosting, and maybe I can be a server now because I hadn't been back in a restaurant since before I turned 18, so I couldn't be a server. And I was like, okay, maybe what if I go somewhere and I try to be a server? Best decision ever, to be honest, because I went from making $13 an hour to like $30 an hour. Which was so slay. And I was only driving like 15 minutes to work instead of like 45. So it was like a win-win. So that brings me to my most recent and actually now current again job. Just had my first day again going back. My server job that I was at for 4 years in college, because it took me 5 years to get my degree. So first year was American Eagle. Last 4 years were the server job. That was like social anxiety final boss. So really it's like non-existent for me anymore. Like, social anxiety, who? I don't know her. It's really, really rare for me to get anxious in a social situation because of the fact that it's social. You know, the anxiety is still there. The generalized anxiety disorder is in fact still diagnosed. However, social anxiety, not so much. I mean, honestly, it was great because I was able to work less eventually. I did work full time for the first like year and a half that I was there, making bank. Okay, but I was still in school. And then I was like, okay, I'm really burnt out, like really, really burnt out. I need to not work full time. So I went down to working part time and was still able to pay all my bills, which was so slay, especially because for 1 year, all of 2024, I worked in a research lab at my college for credit, and so I made no money, but I did get a credit for it, which is great, except that means I also had to pay to get the credit. So I basically was paying to work in the lab, which was awesome. That helped me graduate, so it's fine, and I have a year of experience because of it. Not that it means literally anything, obviously, because I haven't been able to get a lab job again, 1 year of experience, who cares? Apparently nobody. But basically, lab job was great. I have no complaints. I miss it. I might actually go back to the same lab, fingers crossed, this summer. That would be great. There's a plane going by. That might be loud. Hold on. Is it landing on my apartment building? Now I forget what I was talking about. Oh, so I'm back at my server job for now because I think that I should hopefully be able to get a lab job back at where I was before soon. So for now we serve, we make more money because I'm making more money serving than I probably will in the lab, realistically. By probably, I mean definitely for now. I'm gonna need like 5 years of experience in a lab before I can make as much money doing that as I do serving, which is unfortunate and kind of crazy, but serving is a lot of work. So you know what, I'm earning my money. It's fine, it is what it is. But yeah, that's all I've done. Honestly, this wasn't as long as I thought it was gonna be. I yapped as much as I could yap. That's not true. I could yap more. I did work this morning though, so I did do some yapping already. It is, you know, the PM, 5:30 p.m. Okay, focus. I just need to end this. Okay, so my cat looks like he's up to something. Kebo. That's about all my work history. I've been through it. I've done a lot, but I still have a lot more working to do in my life. Yay! I'm so excited. You know, if you have any questions, I guess, about what I've done, but like, who cares about retail and restaurants? Maybe the research lab job I could talk more about, but like, other than that, who gives a fuck? Nobody. Just thought I'd share my fun life experience. My cat is being a menace. Emil. Okay, whatever. I'm gonna go. Take care of that. So he doesn't break things. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.